Grace, a wealthy and independent woman, resided in her opulent mansion, having given up on the idea of finding love after a string of failed relationships. Her mother's persistent encouragement to marry fell on deaf ears, as Grace's sole desire was to become a mother, even if it meant raising her child solo. Grace had tried various avenues to find a suitable partner, but none had worked out. She had almost lost hope of ever finding true love. Despite her wealth and success, Grace felt a void in her life. She longed for someone to share her experiences with. Grace's friends and family tried to reassure her, but she couldn't shake off the feeling of loneliness. She began to focus on her career and philanthropic work to fill the gap. However, the desire to be a mother never left her mind. Grace was determined to find a way to make it happen. Determined to achieve her goal, Grace devised a plan to pay a man a substantial sum to impregnate her. It was an unconventional approach, but Grace was desperate. She had heard of similar arrangements working for others. Grace was willing to try anything to become a mother. She placed an ad on a discreet platform, seeking a suitable candidate. After sifting through numerous applications, Grace found Richard's profile. He was handsome, charming, and financially struggling. Grace knew it was a risky move, but she decided to take a chance. Richard agreed to her proposal, and they entered into a business arrangement. The terms were clear: Richard would receive payment upon confirmation of her pregnancy. As they cohabited in Grace's mansion, they initially maintained the distance, each focused on the respective goals. Grace tried to keep the relationship professional. However, Richard's affable and playful nature soon won her over. They started sharing meals and conversations. Grace found herself laughing and feeling alive again. Richard was easy to talk to, and they discovered common interests. The friendship grew, and Grace felt a connection she couldn't ignore. Despite her initial reservations, Grace began to enjoy Richard's company. The bond strengthened, and they became inseparable. Grace realized she had misjudged Richard, and he was more than just a means to an end. As the days passed, the connection deepened, and they found themselves inseparable. Grace couldn't imagine life without Richard by her side. Their arrangement had turned into a genuine friendship. Grace began to see Richard in a different light. She admired his kindness, empathy, and sense of humor. Richard, too, had developed feelings for Grace beyond their initial agreement. The relationship had evolved into something more meaningful. Grace felt a sense of belonging with Richard. The friendship had become a source of comfort and strength. Grace realized she had fallen for Richard, but was afraid to admit it. Though their agreement had concluded, Grace found herself longing for Richard's presence. She missed the conversations and laughter. Richard, too, yearned to stay by her side. Despite their efforts to dismiss the feelings, they couldn't shake off the connection they had formed. Grace tried to focus on her pregnancy and upcoming motherhood. However, her thoughts kept drifting back to Richard. She wondered if he felt the same way. Grace was hesitant to reach out, fearing rejection. The time together had been a beautiful experience, but Grace didn't know if it was meant to last. Weeks later, Grace's loneliness and nostalgia for Richard's company became overwhelming. She couldn't help but think of him constantly. Richard, too, was struggling to move on. He had developed strong feelings for Grace. The chance encounter at a baby store, where Grace was shopping for her unborn child, reignited the spark. They exchanged awkward smiles and hesitant greetings. The tension between them was palpable. Grace knew she had to confront her feelings. Richard, too, realized he couldn't deny his emotions any longer. The chance encounter at a baby store, where Grace was shopping for her unborn child, reignited the spark. They agreed to meet for dinner, and it was on this occasion that Richard confessed his love for Grace. He poured his heart out, sharing his true feelings. Grace was taken aback but also relieved. She had been carrying the same emotions, afraid to express them. Richard's vulnerability gave her the courage to open up. Grace revealed her feelings, and they shared a tender moment. The confession marked a new beginning in the relationship. They decided to explore the love, free from the constraints of their initial arrangement. She, too, revealed her feelings, and they decided to embark on a romantic relationship. Grace's initial desire to be a single mother had undergone a significant transformation. She now welcomed the prospect of raising her child with a loving partner. Richard was overjoyed, feeling grateful for a second chance. Grace and Richard's relationship blossomed, filled with love, laughter, and excitement. They eagerly anticipated the arrival of the baby, planning a future together. Grace's mother was thrilled to see her daughter happy and in love. Richard became an integral part of Grace's life, supporting her through pregnancy and beyond. The bond grew stronger, and they realized that their unconventional beginning had led to a beautiful life together. Grace learned that sometimes, taking risks and embracing the unexpected can lead to the greatest rewards. Richard proved to be an amazing partner, and Grace felt grateful for his love and support. As they prepared to welcome the child, Grace and Richard knew that the love would continue to flourish. The relationship was a testament to the power of love and second chances. As they sat together, basking in the newfound love, Grace realized that sometimes, life's unexpected twists and turns can lead to the most beautiful outcomes. She had never imagined that her desire to become a mother would lead her to Richard. Grace was grateful for the journey, which had brought them together. Richard's love and support had transformed her life in ways she never thought possible. Grace's heart was full, and she knew that she had found her soulmate. The love story was unique, but it was theirs, and they cherished every moment. Grace and Richard looked forward to building a life together, filled with love, laughter, and adventure. The baby's arrival would be the next chapter in the journey, and they were ready to embrace it together. Grace's life had come full circle, and she was exactly where she was meant to be.